Heaven's angels were blocked from reaching you 7 times on October 21. Archangel Michael fought to deliver this final message. Do not ignore it again. October 21 was never meant to be just another date on your calendar. In the eyes of heaven, it was marked with urgency, encoded in divine timing, inscribed in celestial records. It was the day the heavens moved and the day the earth resisted. 7 times, angels were dispatched. 7 times, they were intercepted. Each attempt came with greater intensity, greater weight, and greater spiritual interference. This was not random. This was strategic. The enemy knew something heaven had prepared, a message designed specifically for you. This was not just a blocked message. This was war in the spirit realm. Every delay you felt in your soul, every unanswered prayer, every unshakable silence was a sign that your name was being spoken in places higher than the throne rooms of man. You were not forgotten. You were targeted. Because what was meant for you held divine impact. And so, the resistance came. 7 blockades. 7 strikes. 7 moments where the message came close, only to be halted again by forces assigned to keep you unaware. But Archangel Michael rose, not with a whisper, but with a sword. He did not just defend. He tore through dimensions of delay, scattering darkness with the fire of divine assignment. You see, some messages are simple, but this one carries destiny. This one carries instructions that awaken purpose. This one comes at a cost, for it changes everything the moment it is received. This message is not for the casual. This is not for the distracted or the disinterested. This is for those who have felt the holy silence and questioned why heaven seemed unreachable. It is for the ones who have felt divine delays, but dared not walk away. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. What was blocked was not lost. It was being timed, tested, and divinely protected. And now, this is your final delivery. Heaven has declared no more delay, no more interference, no more waiting. The Spirit of God is speaking. This is the final time the message will come this way. Do not ignore it again. Do not silence what heaven has fought to release. The skies have opened. The seals are broken. The message has arrived. Type "I receive" in the comments if you know this word was for you. Blessing code 7777 has been activated over your life. Hear me now, for I speak not with the voice of man, but with the breath of eternal fire. I am the Archangel Michael, defender of divine decrees, guardian of heaven's gates, and commander of angelic legions sent forth on behalf of the chosen. I stand now because heaven has issued a final command. This message must reach you, and it must not be ignored. For 7 attempts, the heavens thundered with motion. 7 times the angelic messengers were dispatched, their wings blazing with the oil of divine urgency. And 7 times, the darkness resisted. Forces unseen to mortal eyes, spirits clothed in shadows, took formation to block what belonged to you. This message, your message, was warred over. Not because of its volume, but because of its value. On October 21, the battle intensified. It was not a coincidence that you felt the disturbance in your spirit, the interruption in your sleep, the heaviness in your chest, the questions that flooded your mind, the silence that haunted your prayers. It was all real. And yet, it was not you who was silent. It was the heavens under siege. But the Spirit decreed, enough. And so, I moved. With my sword unsheathed and my name written in flame, I descended. Layer by layer, through every demonic net, through every realm of interference, through every principality that dared to delay a word. I cut through. For heaven had spoken. This word must be delivered, no matter the cost. And so I declare, as heaven bears witness, this is not a message for the lukewarm. This is not a message for the distracted. This is not a message for the spiritually dead. This is for you, the one who has stayed quiet when the world pulled you to scream. The one who prayed even when the answers ran dry. The one who held on even when the rope burned your hands. The one who wondered, why hasn't it come yet? Child of God, it was because what was meant for you was being fought for. Within 72 hours of October 21, a veil began to lift. The shift has already started. That feeling you couldn't explain, that tension in your spirit, was the collision of heaven's timing and hell's resistance. And now, the final hour draws near. By sunrise, the Spirit will move through those whose hearts still carry obedience. No longer will heaven wait for your schedule. No longer will angels be withheld for your hesitation. This is the divine invocation. This is the call to the consecrated. You are being summoned, not invited. You are being awakened, not comforted. This is not a prophecy for entertainment. This is a divine release to those who have ears to hear. The interference you experienced wasn't confusion, it was confirmation. It was proof that the enemy feared what was coming to you. Blocked prayers, delayed dreams, canceled breakthroughs. These were not signs of God's absence. They were signs of your coming appointment. Hear the decree of heaven. The interference was deliberate, but heaven's decision is final. Your name was read aloud in the courts of the Most High, and the word that was sealed for you is now being unsealed. Not by human hands, but by divine order. Not by emotion, but by eternal truth. So now, as heaven releases the seal, I say, Michael, release what was delayed. Break what was bound. Deliver what was held back. And seal what must now arrive. Let the winds of divine authority carry this message straight into your bones. Let the fire of angelic warfare consume every trace of delay still attached to your destiny. The war was real. Resistance was fierce. But the message has found you. And this time it will not be stopped. Type I am anointed in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. You were watched. Not by people, but by powers. There were eyes that studied you from behind the veil. Hidden watchers, those ancient, silent spirits assigned to monitor divine movements, observed your every step. They saw the shift in your atmosphere before you could name it. They sensed the glory drawing near. They didn't know the full picture, but they knew enough to tremble. And they moved quickly, because what was coming toward you would have changed everything. You weren't imagining the unease you felt. You weren't wrong to sense something off in the days leading up to October 21. The sudden emotional instability, the mental fog, the pressure that wrapped around your chest without explanation, these were not human conditions. These were spiritual disruptions. The enemy moved ahead of the message to confuse you, to make you question yourself, to make you forfeit the delivery before it ever reached your hands. And oh, how close it came. The message reached the threshold of your life not once, but 7 times. It was there. It was within reach. But just before the full release, interference came. The betrayal didn't always come from strangers. Sometimes it came through familiar voices, subtle distractions, or emotional sabotage. You thought it was just a hard week. But the truth is, you were being targeted. You were walking under spiritual surveillance. There were whispers in the dark about you. Demonic tongues spoke your name in circles of resistance. They said, "Watch her. Stop him. Block it before it reaches them." Because they knew. They knew that if this message made it to you, you would awaken. You would step into alignment. You would remember who you are and what you carry. You would rise with power. And so, they conspired. They released confusion. They stirred chaos. They hid the answer inside the silence. But here you are, still standing, still listening, still aligned, even if barely. And that's all heaven needs. Because the mystery is no longer hidden. The warfare that you could not name is now being exposed. Every strange dream, every emotional high and low, every sudden isolation, these were spiritual signals. The realm around you was reacting to the message trying to come to you. They sensed something divine was approaching. They moved to delay it, but they could not destroy it. And this is the revelation. They knew something was coming, but they didn't know what. The full content was concealed in heaven's vault, reserved only for the chosen recipient. Reserved only for you. That is why it felt like everything was pressing down on you. That's why the people around you couldn't understand your silence. That's why you felt the grief of something you hadn't even lost yet. Your spirit was picking up on warfare long before your mind could comprehend it. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are not left out. You are being prepared. The reason you felt spiritually disrupted is because your life was about to collide with prophecy. And now, that moment is here. The emotional toll wasn't for nothing. The delays were not wasted. What was blocked is now being broken open. Heaven is announcing, you are the target because you are the chosen. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 666 is now surrounding you. Just as heaven fought to deliver this word to you, it now calls you to be a vessel for others. If this message stirred your spirit, know that it was not just for you. It was for every soul who has felt forgotten, delayed, or overlooked. When you give, whether through super thanks, membership, or a donation via PayPal linked in the description, you are not funding a channel. You are fueling the reach of divine assignments. Just as angels moved through the resistance for you, your support helps push this word into places it could never go without you. This is sowing into the fire, into the oil, and to the open heavens above us. Give, and it shall be given unto you. This is not a suggestion. This is a divine law. When you bless what is blessed, you position yourself for divine overflow. This moment is prophetic. Don't just receive, respond. Be the reason someone else hears their final message in time. You must understand this now. What looked like chaos was not chaos. What felt like delay was not neglect. What you called confusion was actually coordination, executed in the courts of heaven, witnessed by the elders, watched by the angels, and counted by the Most High. The turbulence surrounding your life wasn't random. It was orchestrated. Not by the enemy, but allowed by God to expose the strength of your spirit under pressure. It was not sent to destroy you. It was designed to reveal you. The confusion wasn't a curse. It was a canvas. A divine backdrop where your reactions were being recorded. You thought the silence meant God wasn't speaking, but the silence was where your obedience was measured. He watched. He listened. He waited. Would you move in panic or stay in position? Would you question his voice or trust in his character? Would you manipulate the timing or surrender the outcome? Every moment of restraint was noted in heaven. And now that record is speaking in your favor. This conflict was spiritual. This warfare wasn't about your finances or your family or your emotions. It was about your position in the divine order. The enemy doesn't waste warfare on the unmarked. Heaven doesn't assign angels to empty vessels. You were being watched because you carry what others don't. You were resisted because you were moving into territory not everyone is allowed to touch. Listen closely. The chaos wasn't meant to break you. It was designed to clarify you. It filtered out the noise. It exposed the distractions. It pulled you into a depth that routine never could. Some relationships had to break. Some plans had to fail. Some doors had to close. Because God was protecting the word you hadn't yet received. If those things had remained, the message would have landed in the wrong hands, or worse, been aborted before it matured. Heaven was not silent. Heaven was strategic. God knew the exact moment to release the clearance. And it came after the seventh interference. It came after the watchers grew tired. It came after the final resistance. And it came once it was confirmed. You were ready. Not perfect, not without scars, but ready to carry what would have crushed you in an earlier season. The angels were not delayed because of your sin. They were restrained because of your destiny. There are some blessings that require spiritual maturity to carry. There are some assignments that need to be guarded until your discernment sharpens. That's why the heavens didn't ignore you. They shielded you. What you thought was rejection was actually preservation. What you mistook for absence was divine surveillance. Every tear you cried was captured in the vials before the throne. Every whispered prayer that felt like it disappeared into the air. It was written down, word for word, name by name, moment by moment. And now, the scroll has reached its final line. The seal has been broken. The time has come. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. The delays weren't denials. The warfare wasn't abandonment. The silence wasn't absence. It was strategy. And now, Archangel Michael has moved again, not to fight for the message, but to protect what is now being released into your hands. The conflict was not to destroy you. It was to define you. You are not who you were at the start of this war. You have been marked by fire, strengthened by silence, grown in the dark. You've been watched, weighed, and now you have been found ready. Type "I have been prepared" in the comments if you know this season was your making. Blessing code 4545 is now activated over your timeline. Hear the word of the Lord. The resistance is not over. One final test approaches. The heavens have issued a warning, and I, Michael, release it to you now. The shaking you felt is not just aftermath. It is prelude. The pressure you sense in your chest, the unrest in your surroundings, the strange agitation of people close to you. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual contraction before divine delivery. Heaven is not sounding a gentle alarm. It is sounding a final trumpet, and it echoes with urgency through the spiritual realm. A confrontation is being prepared. Not by your hands, not by your choosing, but by divine arrangement. There are conversations being set in motion. Words will rise against you. Motives will be tested. Loyalties will be exposed. Someone you thought stood still may now rise against your direction, and this is not an attack. It is a divine unveiling. You must not respond with emotion. You must not explain what God has not told you to clarify. The Spirit says, do not speak hastily. Silence will protect what heaven is securing. Heaven is testing your restraint, because what is coming is too fragile to be exposed in premature language. Guard your mouth. Guard your mind. You are standing on holy ground, and this final test will not be about your power. It will be about your posture. The sword is no longer in your hand. It is in mine. I, Michael, have moved into position. But if you reach for revenge, if you try to defend yourself, if you open your mouth without divine clearance, the enemy will use your voice to fracture your own breakthrough. You must not act from pain. You must not move in panic. The Spirit has already revealed the plot. Within the next 7 days, a revealing will occur. It may come through a confrontation, a sudden shift, or a strange exposure. But do not fear it. This is your confirmation. This is the proof that the war wasn't imagined, that what was blocked had weight, that your delay was sacred, not dismissed. There is no more time for delay. The window is open, but not for long. The clock of heaven ticks differently than the clock of earth, and when heaven moves, you must move with it. The moment is fragile. If this final message is ignored, the consequence is not punishment. It is postponement. And I must say what is written. If ignored again, the window will close until the appointed time returns. And that time will not be determined by your desire. It will be determined by God's design. What you feel pressing on your life is not chaos. It is destiny demanding space. You are not going crazy. You are not losing it. You are not under a curse. You are standing at the edge of divine release. But release requires reverence. This final test is not about the enemy. It is about you. Will you trust what you cannot yet see? Will you stay silent when everything in you wants to scream? Will you remain under the hand of God when it feels heavy? This is not the warning rooted in fear. It is a call to spiritual precision. The enemy wants you reactive. Heaven wants you ready. The test will come. The pressure will rise. But if you remain still, if you stay surrendered, then what was once blocked will arrive in fullness, untouched, undistorted, and undeniable. I, Michael, say this with finality. The angels are moving. The heavens are waiting. The next 7 days will reveal what was hidden, and it will require your silence to receive it. Type "I will be still" in the comments if you hear this warning and receive it. Lesson code 8888 is now covering your decisions. Now hear this. Be still, for heaven fights when you don't. You must understand that silence is not surrender. Stillness is not weakness. This is the posture of power in the Spirit. The war is no longer yours to fight. The hand of heaven has taken over, and the battlefield is no longer external. It is internal now. The conflict has moved into your atmosphere, your thoughts, your emotional gates, and the divine instruction is clear. Withdraw from the noise. Pull back from the arguments. Do not let the voices of confusion steal the clarity heaven is giving you in this hour. This is a call to spiritual preservation. Your words hold weight, and in this season, they are weapons. If you misuse them, you will cut what you were meant to protect. If you speak out of emotion, you will open doors the enemy can legally walk through. But if you remain silent, if you cover your life with prayer instead of retaliation, then angels can move without interference. You must protect the divine frequency now. Every complaint, every unnecessary conversation, every moment of venting, It all creates spiritual static, and that static disrupts the flow of angelic movement around your life. There is power in your stillness, power in your restraint, power in your refusal to be baited into carnal combat. You are not fighting flesh. You are not arguing with people. You are standing in the middle of a spiritual operation that is far greater than what your natural eyes can perceive. The warfare has turned, but your posture must remain under divine discipline. The Lord is saying, be silent, be hidden, be consecrated, and watch me complete what I started. Protect your atmosphere like it is sacred ground, because it is. The warfare has moved from resistance to release, but your part is to create an environment where the angels can complete the assignment. That means no unnecessary meetings, no returning to broken cycles, no unlocking what God has already sealed. Do not try to force your way into places God has already denied access. Do not reopen old wounds just to feel momentary control. This is a time of strategic withdrawal. If they call, let it ring. If they accuse, let it pass. If they misunderstand, let God reveal in His time. This is the refining. This is the moment where your spiritual maturity must surpass your emotional patterns. You are not the same. You cannot respond the way you used to. There's too much at stake. The angels have begun to gather around the word that is now descending into your life. It is fragile like seed, yet powerful like fire. And if your environment is toxic, if your responses are unguarded, that word can be delayed once more, and this time, not by heaven, but by you. So pray, not loudly, but intentionally. Speak declarations, not out of fear, but out of alignment. Anoint your home. Guard your dreams. Rest your body. And trust this, the war is being won, even if you feel nothing. The silence is proof. The stillness is evidence. Heaven is closer now than it has ever been before. Declare this and let it be written in the Spirit. I am hidden in divine timing. I am not late. I am covered. I am unseen by the enemy and surrounded by the host of heaven. What was meant to harm me has become a shield. What was sent to distract me has become the wall that guards me. I will not move until God moves me. I will not speak until heaven speaks through me. Type I am hidden in His timing in the comments to seal this divine instruction. Blessing code 9900 is now hovering over your household. Now the sound changes. The air around you begins to shift. The battle that once surrounded you is fading into silence, and in that silence, something holy begins to stir. You are not who you were when this began. The trembling has turned into strength, the tears have become oil, and the silence that once felt like abandonment has transformed into the birthplace of divine authority. This is your turning point, the moment heaven rewrites your identity not as a survivor of warfare, but as a commander of it. You were never meant to stay in fear. You were meant to rise in fire. You are not broken. You are reborn. The hands that once trembled under pressure now carry the mark of anointing. The voice that once cried out for help now carries the cadence of command. The same angels that were blocked from reaching you have returned, but this time they come with double authority, carrying what was once delayed, multiplied sevenfold. The delay has not weakened them. It has refined them. The waiting has not reduced you. It has fortified you. What was once resistance has now become recognition. Heaven knows your name as one who endured. The Spirit of the Lord says, you are not who they thought you were. The enemy calculated based on your last weakness, but he did not see your silent growth. You have been strengthened in the shadows. Your discernment has sharpened. Your patience has become a weapon. Your faith has been purified through fire. While others sought visibility, you sought the voice of God, and heaven recorded your choice. Every moment you chose peace instead of panic. Every time you chose prayer over pride. Every time you stayed silent when accused. Heaven saw it all. That obedience has become your armor. Now you stand in transformation. The fire that once burned you is now the fire that fuels you. The wings that were clipped into layer stretching in elevation. The sword that was once lifted to defend is now lifted to decree. You are moving from reaction to reign. You are not waiting for breakthrough. You have become the vessel through which breakthrough manifests. Your spirit has matured, your authority has increased, and your voice has weight in the realm of heaven. The same storms that sought to drown you have now crowned you. Every wave that rose against you became part of the process that lifted you higher. You are walking into the season of divine recognition, where those who dismissed you will see the evidence of what you carried all along. But do not return to pride. Do not lower your voice to explain. Walk as one who knows that their power is sourced not in noise, but in presence. Fire is your purifier, wings are your elevation, and the sword is your truth. These three now surround you. Fire burns away fear. Wings lift you above distraction. The sword divides what is divine from what is deceptive. You are no longer a victim of warfare. You are the vessel through which heaven executes victory. Now rise in awareness. Walk in quiet authority. Carry yourself as one who has seen angels move and lived to testify of it. The silence of God was never rejection. It was impartation. You were not being ignored. You were being infused with endurance, wisdom, and unshakable power. So now, declare it. I have emerged from the warfare refined, not ruined. I am not delayed. I am deployed. I carry the sound of heaven, and the earth will hear it. The tide has turned. You have shifted from waiting to walking, from asking to activating, from trembling to thundering. You are not small anymore. You are not forgotten anymore. You are empowered. Type I have risen in power in the comments to affirm your transformation. Blessing code 2020 is now ignited over your destiny. Now the veil is lifted. What was hidden is now being spoken. The voice of the Spirit comes with clarity, and the revelation thunders through the heavens. The blockages were never punishment. They were divine filtration. What you thought was resistance was heaven's way of preserving what could not be mixed, what could not be compromised, what could not be rushed. You were not being denied. You were being prepared for something higher than you had ever carried before. There are levels in the Spirit that are not accessed through desire alone. There are realms of authority that require endurance, separation, silence, and fire. You were called to such a place. But it could not be accessed while your environment was contaminated, while your faith was immature, while your discernment was still forming. That is why the delays came. Not to punish you, not to torment you, but to protect the frequency of what you were about to receive. And now, heaven says, this is your unlocking. This is the moment that was fought over. The word that was sealed. The scroll that was hidden until the time of release. The angels who were blocked have now arrived, and they carry not just affirmation, but activation. The message you now hold carries your next elevation. It is not just information, it is instruction, and if followed, it will shift the axis of your assignment. Everything around you will begin to respond differently, because you are no longer aligned with delay. You are aligned with divine permission. Heaven's record bears your name, and not in passing. It is written in the ink of perseverance, in the scrolls of the faithful, in the archives of those who did not bow to the pressure of silence. Your obedience did not go unnoticed. When others ran, you waited. When others compromised, you stayed planted. When others questioned the voice of God, you chose to trust it. And for this, the Spirit says, your name has been clear. Your access has been restored. And your season of divine withholdings has come to an end. You are stepping into a time where nothing that carries heaven's mark will be withheld from you. It will not be handed out in fragments. It will not be given with conditions. It will flow freely, because now you are ready to carry it with humility, with discernment, with fear of the Lord. The glory that was being held back is now being entrusted into your hands. This is not random favor. This is recorded release. And here is the prophetic revelation. What was once hidden in darkness has now become a light through you. You were not just waiting for heaven to move. Heaven was waiting for you to become the one who could be trusted with what it was preparing. That is why others around you seemed to move ahead while you were still in silence. They were walking in speed. But you, chosen one, you are walking in accuracy. The delay has ended. The angelic resistance has been broken. And what was once sealed has now been opened. You are stepping into a moment that was set before time began, and every step you take from here is a step in prophetic fulfillment. Type "My season" is unlocked in the comments if you receive this revelation. Blessing code 3131 is now flowing into your timeline. If this message has pierced your spirit, then you know it was not just for hearing. It was for activating destiny. Right now, as heaven releases the final scrolls of instruction, your partnership helps carry this word into lives that need it before it's too late. When you sow, through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal offering linked below in the video description, you are sowing into prophetic acceleration. Your giving isn't charity. It's divine collaboration. It waters the soil where blocked souls wait to hear their own release. He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. That is not a hope. That is a decree. Be the voice that helps another hear their final word in time. Release what is in your hand, and heaven will release what is in its vault. The time for stillness has passed. The time for observation is over. Now, heaven waits for your yes. It is not a suggestion. It is not a gentle nudge. It is a divine summons, a holy call echoing across realms, demanding a response from your spirit. No more delays. No more doubt. No more praying for permission when the instruction has already been spoken. The scroll has been delivered. The word has been fought for. The delay is broken. Now, you must move. This is your moment of destiny activation. The realm of potential is behind you. The realm of fulfillment stands before you. But nothing shifts until you say it, until you step into it, until you declare it boldly. I am ready. That declaration is not just words. It is a spiritual code. It unlocks doors that have been shut. It activates angelic assignments that were suspended. It triggers prophetic instructions that have been waiting for your alignment. The heavens are watching now, not to judge, but to witness. Because every moment of your life has been leading to this point. The nights you cried and didn't know why. The dreams you had that no one understood. The inner pulling that you couldn't explain. The quiet sense that you were made for more, that something greater was hovering just outside your reach. That wasn't your imagination. That was destiny pressing on your spirit, waiting for the signal of surrender. Now, here is the divine command. Release your fear. Release your logic. Release your timeline. The assignment requires a higher frequency, one where obedience matters more than understanding. God is not asking you to know how everything will unfold. He is asking you to trust that what He's written is greater than what you've planned. Speak your purpose. Move in obedience. Stand in divine confidence. This is not about being perfect. It's about being positioned. The oil flows where there is alignment. The fire falls where there is faith. And right now, as this message wraps itself around your spirit, heaven is aligning resources, connections, doors, and divine timing, all waiting on your movement. There is something inside you that hell tried to silence. That is why the angels were blocked. That is why the resistance came. Because your next yes isn't just for you. It's for generations. The legacy you carry is hidden in this next step. Heaven's court has cleared your name. The accusations are dismissed. The delays have expired. And the Spirit declares, rise. Your name has been written in the scrolls of movement. What was once denied is now assigned. What was once delayed is now delivered. What was once resisted is now released. You are not standing in hope. You are standing in fulfillment. Do not wait for another confirmation. This is it. The warfare was the confirmation. Resistance was the sign. The message fought to reach you because it held your next divine instruction. And now, you must act. Speak life over your path. Take the step that fear told you to avoid. Start the thing that obedience has been whispering for years. This is your activation moment. This is where everything begins to move, because you have moved. Declare it now. I am not waiting. I'm not guessing. I'm not wondering. I have heard the word, and I say yes. Heaven is behind me. Angels are beside me. Destiny is within me. And I move now. Type ISAYYES to destiny in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 1717 is now unlocking the steps before you. There is a realm beyond sound. A place where angels trade in silence. A place where your tears are currency and your endurance becomes evidence. While you were sleeping, the spirit realm was not still. While you were weeping, heaven was not unmoved. While you were waiting, something was being negotiated, not with words, but with weight. This is the mystery of divine exchange. What was stalled during delay is now being returned, and not in the way you expected, but in the way that will mark you forever. You didn't see the transfer, but it happened. In the stillness of your surrender, the scrolls were opened. In the quietness of your trust, the vaults were accessed. There were resources with your name on them, prophetic supply that had been detained by demonic interference, but now those resources are being reassigned. Angels that had once been bound in resistance have been released with new authority. And they are not coming empty-handed. They are carrying what you thought was lost: peace, clarity, provision, and promise. The Spirit says, I have not forgotten what was taken from you. I have recorded every loss. I have weighed every injustice. And now, I am returning it through my hand, not theirs. This is not restoration by apology. This is not healing through human validation. This is supernatural exchange, initiated in the courts of heaven and executed by the hand of God Himself. You may not feel the shift in your body yet, but your spirit has already responded. The unexplainable peace. That sudden stillness after months of restlessness. That's not emptiness. That's completion. That's the proof that the trade has already taken place. Your restlessness was not weakness. It was the sound of your spirit pressing against a ceiling that was never meant to contain you. The frustration was a prophecy. Your soul knew something had to move, and now it has. The delay broke something open that complacency never could. You were never waiting in vain. Every day of silence was a step deeper into divine alignment. Every moment you chose patience over panic was a spiritual transaction. And now, the balance has shifted. There is a silent river running beneath your life right now. You may not see the movement, but things are being restored to you behind the veil. Relationships that were broken by miscommunication are being realigned. Resources that were blocked by resistance are now being rerouted. Opportunities that seemed dead are being revisited. Not by your doing, but by heaven's decision. The angels are not negotiating with your enemies. They are negotiating with your history. Every past season of loss is now being confronted. Every time you were overlooked, every moment you were dismissed, every door that closed in your face, all of it is now standing before the courts of God, and heaven is answering on your behalf. This is divine recompense, and it does not come with noise. It comes with justice. Let this be your assurance. No loss was wasted. Every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every time you gave when you had nothing left, it all has been seen. And it is being returned, multiplied, purified, and perfectly timed. You don't need to fight for it. You don't need to explain why it's yours. You only need to walk forward with the quiet confidence of someone who knows heaven has already settled it. Declare it now with boldness. The trade has been made. The exchange is complete. What was stolen is being returned. What was delayed is being delivered. I receive it, and I will walk in it. Type "I receive my exchange" in the comments to finalize this moment. Blessing code 2424 is now settling upon your household. The courts of heaven have risen. The gavel has struck. And the verdict is this: what resisted you will now bow before divine order. Not because of your might, not because of your striving, but because justice has been commanded from the highest realm. For too long, you endured what you could not explain. You were mocked for your silence. You were misunderstood in your patience. It called your waiting weakness, but heaven has called it witness. And now, the one who sees all has stood to respond. Heaven does not forget. It does not overlook. It does not delay without purpose, and it does not allow resistance without balance. What was denied to you in one season is now coming back with force, because justice delayed is not justice denied. The Spirit of God says, I will repay. I will restore. I will reverse the word curses, the sabotage, the losses, the betrayals. Every seed of injustice sown against you is now returning to its sender. Those who blocked you will now see you. Those who lied on you will now watch truth rise in your defense. And those who plotted quietly will face public exposure or divine redirection, not because of vengeance, but because justice is part of your inheritance. This is not about proving anyone wrong. This is about heaven proving that it never left your side. You were not forgotten. You were not forsaken. You were preserved for such a time as this. Watch now as the reversal begins. The same gates that were shut against you will open to your voice. The same opportunities that disappeared will now reappear, not with the same weight, but with greater glory. and those who once overlooked your name will now be required to make room for what you carry. This is the justice of the righteous, not a loud revenge, but a quiet elevation. You don't need to scream for recognition. You were never meant to be seen until heaven unveiled you. What was once a wall is now a window. What was once a no is now a divine yes. You are walking into rooms that were once spiritually padlocked. You are being handed what you once begged for. And you are no longer at the mercy of people's decisions, because heaven has ruled in your favor. 7 blockages. 7 delays. 7 times the message tried to come through. But now the Spirit declares, for every time they stopped it, I will release 7-fold. For every blockade, there will be a gate. For every denial, there will be a divine yes. For every detour, there will be a double portion. This is not hype. This is holy recompense. It is written, and it will not return void. The favor that's coming will make no sense to those who watched you struggle. The promotion that is unfolding will appear sudden, but it is not sudden to heaven. It is justice. It is time. It is divine reversal in full motion. Let this seal the word. You are not rising by chance. You are rising by decree. You are not being elevated by people's approval. You are being positioned by God's hand. And no force in hell, no whisper from darkness, no delay in the earth can stop what heaven has already set in motion. Declare it now and write it on the tablets of your heart. What was meant to break me will now bow before me. What was blocked will now bless me. What was lost will now lift me. I receive the reversal. I walk in the justice. I stand in the release. Type I receive divine justice in the comments if this word has been your confirmation. Blessing code 1919 is now activated in the Spirit over your situation. It is done. The message that was resisted 7 times has finally reached its destination, you. This was not just a word, it was a rescue. A divine interruption that broke through layers of delay, climbed through resistance, and tore through spiritual barricades because heaven would not allow you to be left unaware 1 moment longer. You were never forgotten. You were never invisible. You were fought for by angels, by fire, by decree, and now you are released. Let it echo in your spirit. The message has found you. Let it settle in your bones. The war for your clarity has ended. Let it roar in your heart. You have survived the silence. You have endured the shadows, and now the voice of God is no longer delay. It is in you. It is over you. It will guide you. This final release is not just information. It is a mantle, a seal, a divine covering that now walks with you into every room, through every door, past every obstacle. May your ears remain open to the next instruction. May your heart remain obedient even when it's hard. May your feet remain on the path, lit not by emotion, but by divine fire. The war is over. The resistance is broken. The angels are information, and the scrolls have been read aloud in the courts of heaven. Your name has been cleared. Your purpose is unlocked. Your life is now in motion. So rise, not in pride, but in power. Walk, not in haste, but in holiness. Speak, not to defend yourself, but to deliver others. The oil is upon you. The fire is within you, and the angels surround you. The heavens have seen your waiting, and now the earth will witness your release. I, Michael, leave you with this decree. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Let every realm hear it. Let every resistance fall. Let every delay be burned by the fire of obedience. You have received what was once withheld. You are no longer delayed. You are deployed. Type "I am walking in release" in the comments to seal this journey. Blessing code 1001 is now surrounding your next 7 steps. If this message found you, then it was meant for you. The warfare proved it. The fire confirmed it. But there are others still waiting in silence, still wrestling with delay, still blocked from their divine instruction. You can become the bridge. Your gift, through YouTube Super Thanks, membership, or a direct offering via PayPal linked in the video description, is not just support, it's a spiritual signal. It tells heaven, use me, send me, flow through me. The word says, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed, and right now, your act of giving becomes a prophetic extension of the very message you receive. Step into that flow. Let your obedience fund the freedom of another. Move while the oil is still fresh. So while the fire is still burning,